Good afternoon. Um, Today I was gonna do a thing about positivity and what it means to me, and kind of a little backstory on how I discover positivity, how I maintain it, and whatnot. But I'm gonna step back from that, and maybe in the future you can send me questions and I can try to answer them from my perspective. However, I have a small three-part question regarding that matter, but kind of just small, quick background on that. Like most times in life, there's a crossroads, kind of very Robert Johnson crossroads. A couple of times in my life, I've encountered those situations, and in spring/summer, it's kind of blurry at that point. The time period I didn't write down this day I discovered this or what have you, whatnot. But around that time period, I kind of was seeing the way things were around me, the people, the way, the changes in our society, the way we treat each other, the way we interact with each other. And I wanted kind of move the direction I was moving in. And when you have this world, it's the people you surround yourself with and your environment. So that can be considered your world, or your environment. And you can change yourself, but you can't change others. Within that environment, you can spread different messages, different attitudes, how you present yourself, or how others around you, if you act negative, the people around you are going to act negative, or vice versa. In my situation, I decided, hey, I'm going to try to see if I can be more positive, because at that point I wasn't really, I was externally, I guess, in a way happy. He's smiling, he's this and that, but inside I wasn't, happy, I suppose. And at that time, I really didn't really know how to gauge, situations. If something was, the way I reacted was not conducive of me having results that were going to be beneficial in my life. So around that time period, somebody, speaking of questions, somebody had asked me, well, what's good in today? They were not having a good day, and I wasn't having a good all-around, go at things at that time. So they're like, find something good in that day. And so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna search for a quote. Those that know me or around me, I tend to find quotes and put something positive up. So I decided to say, hey, here's a quote, maybe build your day around this, and that kind of how it snowballed. And around that time period, that summer, Nas came out with Life is Good, which was though I liked a lot of, the realisticness of what he sang about or rapped about in his music. He, on that album, was kind of giving a linear idea of how his life is at that point. So it wasn't, hustling, getting in trouble, getting arrested, whatever. It was perspective of being at some time period in your life, having children, and how engaging that stuff. And that was more realistic, and that's actually one of my favorite albums, because it's different and it's talking about the now instead of trying to hold on to this, environment that you came from, or things that you were brought up around. So it was talking about currently, that's cool, because when you talk about your reality, it's your reality, and it's different from, even though art can be, you can have interpretations, it's not, exactly how you want it to be. And around that time period, I got more into the band H2O, and their singer, Toby Morris, would always talk about PMA, having a positive mental attitude. He would post up quotes too. And he would always post, because obviously that summer the album came out, Life is Good, and the Nas record. So I was like, that was sort of an ingredient in what was a catalyst for the mindset I have today. One thing that I do maintain is to try to stay positive, and to try to feed that to the people around me. Not just as you have to do this, but I put it out there because it's, like I mentioned earlier, you have yourself, and you can control what you do, and you have, that's your kind of world. The people around you, or the people you associate with, are an impetus of that. They, by being more positive, you can kind of change the direction of things. If you're going to be negative and you're around negative people, you're going to have negative results. So, that is something that is of note, and something that happens. And, I'm not perfect. I have a lot more bad days than I have good days. But it's how I change them, and how I move on with them, and how I interact with people. Some people say, you're patient, you don't overreact or whatever, you're quiet and whatnot, which, as in the scales, I guess that's a good thing, but that's just my perception. So, being that that's a little background on it, I did get this one question. It's a 3-parter though. It's a good one, and it's going to be kind of a foundation for this, and maybe I can get more questions, and maybe we can, you the listener, can open up this dialogue. Maybe I can have more content to record, and maybe I can interview you live. We can see what's good. So one of the questions was, do you really think positivity makes a difference? And I really do think so, because when you're positive, you're changing the direction of things. If you overreact and you are negative, you or the situation you're in can just get either worse, or you can try to balance it out and make it just a little better, or even just completely make it into a better situation than it already was, which I guess in a way was how that works out. But when you have things that are negative around you, it's going to get terrible. So it does make a difference. It does change your mindset. If you start your day off with something positive, it's kind of a quote. If you're spiritual, maybe scripture in the Bible, whatever it is, to start your day off in a positive way, it can only make that much better of a difference. Or pray, or whatever you do that will help change the way your day will be. And not every day is going to be good. Maybe you're in line at a retail place and you're 45 minutes in the line, or traffic's terrible, or people are jaywalking, or whatever it is that will be negative in your day. By having a positive start will make all that much more of a difference. which ties into why does positivity work? Why does positivity make a difference? Well, the why is that by doing it, you're going to continue on a path that you can only become a better person. I'm not saying that you're going to be a Gandhi or, somebody who's really, or in the Buddhist sense, somebody who's kind of Zen, or, you're just going to be at peace, which is not necessarily in this day and age, in this society of social media comments, like I mentioned before, other things in your day that will, be negative. By being positive, you can make all that much more of a difference, and it is something that you can only change your world, you can't change somebody else. So the people around you, the actions you give, the things that happen around you, you can kind of change, the way that works out. And the third part of the question is how does positivity make a difference? How can you do it? You can, as I mentioned earlier, pray. If you're a spiritual person, read a verse in the Bible, or go online and find a quote. Look at maybe it's a nice day out, the skies are blue and it's windy, and you see some white puffy clouds over the mountains if you're in a mountainous area, or just ascending quite above a skyscraper if you're in a metropolis area. There is beauty in everything you look at. It could be in the flowers, it could be in the day. You can walk by a rose garden, or something that you can find, and it's not hard to do, but you have to have that vision of having something that's going to be positive. And one of the things too is, just as people exercise your mind, whether it's reading and learning how to read, being better reading, or going to the gym, doing lots of cardio. If you want muscle, you're going to bulk up, or things like that will be a form of exercise. Exercise your mind with positivity. Try to think positive. Try to find that quote. Try to have a set of quotes, Try to think of the things that are going to be good around you, and the good that's gonna only make your day or moments. And sometimes for people it's like take it one day at a time, or one step at a time, as some people in like certain recovery programs will say. Those things are in place so they, little by little you'll be stronger, you'll get stronger, and it's not like anything once and done, or it's going to happen overnight. It's not. That's not how this life works. You have to try to, build stuff up, make things better. And I'm not trying to tell you what to do. A lot of people see that I try to be positive, try to put positive quotes, try to change the narrative of my day. And I'm not perfect. I have a lot of bad days, but it helps, because it helps me not overreact, or not, some people may call that hypocritical or whatever. Things can be a lot different had I not thought of positivity and how positivity can change my day or make my day. There's a lot of good that comes into that, and it can just go from up. The bottom is endless. when you are at the bottom, and you can only do is just climb up. Sometimes the hole can keep getting better, your day can obviously get worse, but it's how you gauge it, how you think about things, how things will get better. And if you do that, you can change yourself. You can change your day by having that positivity. Maybe you can change the negative things around you, but it's up to you. And like I mentioned, I'm not one to tell people what to do. This is how I get through certain things. And it's not easy, but it gets easier, because nothing's going to be smooth, and there's always going to be a wind out there. But you'll get through whatever it is you're going to get through. And there's always a new day. There's always another hour, another minute, whatever it is, there's going to be more in store. So whatever it is you're struggling with, whatever it is you're going through, it's gonna be better. It's gonna go away. It's not gonna hurt as much anymore. You're gonna maybe forget about it, put it in the back of your mind, and your days will get better. Whatever it is that's bothering you, whatever it is that is making your day bad, whether the people around you aren't making your day any better. So that's it for this. I know I like a lot of the things that I record to be live, one shot, just one take, because it's more natural, more whatever it is, and I plan to do more of this in the future. If you have questions, hit me up. I'll make Q&As out of this so your questions can be answered, and maybe you too can be a part of this channel, these recordings, and we'll have fun. And until another time, thank you for listening. Hopefully you'll participate, and stay safe, stay positive.